Recording. All right, kia ora everybody, what's up? If you are here, you're here to milk my brain for the next hour and a half. Quick bit of context. I have never done it like this before. Straight to it, but the whole point here is during this lockdown and stuff, I've been doing a bunch of interviews with everyone. I think we're up to like a number 80. It's like 85 or almost 100 or whatever it is of interviews. But in the background, I've been getting hit up by a whole bunch of people using LinkedIn specifically around, actually, shit, I don't even need my flipping headphones. Okay, cool. About a whole bunch of stuff in terms of profiles and getting set up, like lost jobs and looking to get reset. They've got small businesses and they're going B2B and they want to try and sell more shit. Whatever it is, there's been a whole bunch of questions that I've got. So I thought, okay, I'll knock it out on a Friday, open it up for everyone for flipping like an hour and a half, just like this live. Peter says, what up, Morena? Well, we can send here from Aotearoa shop, bro. Appreciate it. I am in America at the moment. I'm 5 hours ahead. I'm in America. There is no sport. Our lockdown's been shifted to the end of May. I missed the flyback by 4 hours. Really, really pissed. And here I am. Okay, so context, what we're going to do, and this is also, I'm recording this. So for those that come in later, you can be able to scroll back after and get the first start of it. And then you can get that fine. And then I'll also open it up from others. So what I am, Kylie's here, kia ora brother, so anyone's joining in, any questions that you want answered, go into the Q&A section, make it anonymous, and then put all your different bits and pieces in there as well. So we've got a couple of things. So how I'm going to structure this this hour and a bit is going to be, I'll give a quick bit of why I'm doing this, which I'm explaining now. A quick few little disclaimers. I'm going to get into profiles, networking, absolutely everything, and my goal is to try and get to the Q&A as fast as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you a couple of kind of key specific things. I'll screen share my stuff and go from there. Okay. Also a disclaimer is this next little bit is my opinion. It is what I've tried, is what I personally use. There are a bunch of other stuff you can do, which is great and cool. This is just literally what I've tried. There's software that I tell you, there'll be other different variants. So if you want that, just look up whatever I say, competitor or similar company, whatever, that's an easy way to do it. But this is just me and one of the big goals that I've thought about with content is specifically, if you don't know, I guess my quick background of this space is was an ex-professional snowboarder, really into all sorts of video production content and tech. I was on the board of NZ Tech, built up a media company, exited that to Saatchi and Saatchi. Always been around video production, content strategy, media tech, any kind of cool stuff. So I've been deeply involved in that world. Now I am using this to basically give you as much as I can. And I actually, I did in New Zealand, I did for the last couple of years, I would go around to different, because I want to help people, I'd go to different cities and I'd do like full day workshops, but you can only do them to like, 8 people and you spend your time. So I was like, okay, I can't do that anymore. I've got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. I've got a bunch of other shit on. This is all for fun. But I decided, I was okay, I'm going to put everything out into one thing. So I created a 2020 social media blueprint, which was A to Z of absolutely everything. LinkedIn is one small part of it. So I can give you the link in that after it as well. So here we go. Okay, get into it. You can take notes as much as you want and then go from there. All right, profile 101. So what I thought I'd start off with, so we've got questions here. Here you go. And I'm going to shift this across, bring this in the middle, and then I can just share and I'll go through the main thing. So we've got 4 or 5 questions coming in. Feel free to just keep ask as many as you want in there and I'll try and get to them as much as possible. Cool. Let's get into it. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to start off in here. And let's go for it. So share screen, LinkedIn, and go. Cool. So hopefully you should be able to see what I'm seeing here. What I wanted to maybe just talk through real quick to start off with is I'm going to go through, I guess, profile 101, profile feedback, and some hashtags. And what I'd be actually keen for as well is I'm more than happy to do some LinkedIn profile audits to any of the crew here. So if you would like a quick little profile audit as well, just check your name and I can see who's in the mix. I'll go to chat. There we go. Actually, right now, if you do want me to do a quick profile of you just say yes please in the chat, and then I can after we get to profile feedback, we can go from there. Cool. So profile 101. I'm not going to go too crazy into it, but the key bits. The first thing which people don't do or have is your custom URL profile on the top. And so what happens is, usually the majority, about 80–90% of the people actually have, a whole bunch of different crazy numbers and letters and all the rest of it. This is actually an easy, simple branding opportunity, right? So the simple way to do it is go to your profile, click edit public profile on the top right-hand side. And then on the top right-hand side of there, you can customize your URL. And that URL is where you can try and get your name. Now, if you've got a name like John Smith or something like that, you need to obviously think a bit differently. Is it john.smith.nz or whatever it may be? Boom, that's the first pretty simple one. Do that, and straight away you've now got like a branded piece which you can use. And that branded piece you can put as a link to your email signatures. You can put a link everywhere else. Get into the main sort of piece side. For me anyway, from those I've seen, most of the different profile photos and stuff that that stand out the most have kind of a bit of a clearer background and your face is kind of visible. Because what happens is if you go into just a regular feed, is this little icon that actually is, who you are. If you've got a really clouded background, it's hard to actually differentiate the face from the background. And so say like Chris Young there, it's cool that you can see his face, but and you can see there's a whole bunch in the back, opposed to say Wendy there, Bob, myself, Ben Kip. So that's actually a really good one, right? Like stands out. It's something super simple to think about, but when you're doing this, just realize that your profile photo is going to show up a lot smaller on that main scrolling piece, especially for on mobile devices, which is small as well. I'm kind of OCD. The way I kind of look at it is I crank between like black, all simple sort of stuff there. Always want to have just a simple, clear one-liner with what you're into and what you're about. The contact info that pops up, you want to be able to have your business, actually depends. So this is one thing. If you're in business and you want people to come to your business, have this as your business email. You get your personal email account. What happens is any recruiter that wants to get to you is going to either private message you or email you to your personal. And if you work at Bunnings, let's say, and someone from Mitre 10 wants you, they're not going to email through to your work account from one. It's just kind of bad protocol, plus emails get picked up on the other side. And you'll get told that they don't check your emails, but this is a pretty rookie move. Going back down. So the sort of main ones, and I'll actually get into a couple of different profile audits. I've got a few people that are wanting them there, which is cool. So I can get into that. Is just the main things to think about is each different title that you have, try and have the icon for whatever the business is. Just because then visually it looks about, and then give a bit of quick, like a one-liner, just some quick context to it. And especially if people don't know what the business does, give context to what the business does and what your role within it was. Boom, 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 boom. Easy, cool. A volunteer experience, this means a lot, do that. And any volunteer stuff or other different projects you can put below. And a lot of different professional services providers, if you do services like, lawyers or accountants or just whatever, try and go for a bunch of different recommendations. Because what it does is a lot of those type of businesses, you don't get you don't have the option for people to say publicly, how good you are. There's a lot of commercial sensitivities to stuff that don't get said in public. But if you've worked for someone that's been good, especially if you're a consultant who's worked for a big brand, try and definitely get all of those things as well. So perfect example there would be, say we're speaking, right? I've spoken at all these different things, and then you use the quote from them, then all of a sudden it's a bit more punchier, right? And then you've got the brand behind it. So it's just something to simply think about. And then interest, make sure you don't go too crazy wide on the interests, and the same with groups, because that can get a little bit thing. So that's the feedback piece. Now, what I want to do is let's just do a couple of other LinkedIn audits, and let's help a couple of you out. And then what I want to do is then jump back into a few other things, and I can get back into it. There's currently 7 questions, which is cool. I'll do call the questions at the end. Please answer. please ask any questions that you want in the Q&A in the chat. Okay, so I have first one up for a profile audit on the scroll here is it, here we go, we can see it, should be Pandley, here we go. So let's type it in. Oh, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Robett Pandley. Oh, can't find you. Should I try and find it? Is that if I spelled it wrong? Here we go. If I think this is you. Robett. Cool. Okay. So if this is you, my friend, and I think you are, because we know 6 people together and you know a few crews, so I'm imagining this is you. So Robett, you need a background image here. I would change up the background because you've got a dark shirt on and the dark in the background, clear that up to make it a bit brighter. It's cool that you've got a good light and stuff on your face. You can definitely see it's you, which is good. And the background is out of focus. That does make a bit of a difference. Directive, put your work email on here as well, company website, if that's it, group.jumia, yep, cool. And you've got your custom things, so that's good. Boom, 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 boom. Space this out, do a couple of different paragraphs, get a punchier one-liner so you know exactly what it is that that you do and how you do it. Little typo spelling there. Features Robett Pandley, rebrand that, because I'm guessing this is your CV. But then you obviously got a solid role on a solid business, but I don't know what Jumia does. So having that one-liner and stuff beneath it would give a bit more context to that as well. Education, boom, boom, boom. Get the brands and the icons there, all the rest of it. Now, a real simple thing, like let's say if I wanted to figure out, you know, how this is the classic for digital marketers or bits and pieces, is you can actually see their activity. When you go click see all on it, the main thing I'd go to is, if I was trying to sense check someone with how much they're into it, would be looking into their posts. And into their posts, then you can see the timing, because everything's time stamped, right? So I look at timestamps of people. So, you know, you've posted one post a year ago and then one 2 years ago, you know, so there's not much, there's basically almost nothing there. Activity, cool. So you're a lot more active, but not, so you're giving feedback, but not essentially providing value on the backside. So those are just a couple of quick things, which I think I would easily do. Andrea Rutini, let's do that. Andrea Rutini. Hopefully this is you. Boom, okay. Okay, Andrea, so a couple of things. One, do a photo just with yourself in it, because you got to understand with it, when this gets scrolled down and scrolls along the main page, you're not even basically going to see you. Get a background in the mix. There, contact info. Yep. So perfect example for you here is you can actually go and try and get your name. I would do that. Give context of specifically projects you're working on or something to give it a bit of depth. Get the logo in the mix. It's really simple, right? Like the scope your interests. So you're actually missing a few bits and pieces you can easily do on there as well. I think maybe that might be all the interests. Here you go, influencers. Of course, there's not crazy heaps company. When you follow companies, only try and definitely follow the ones that you're either directly involved with or have a genuine interest in, because when others are looking at your profiles, they can see what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I would definitely do that. So a couple of super quick, easy ones, and you should be able to knock that out. Nick Harrison is up next. Boom. Nick, if you are watching this, is this, oh, did I get the right one? Nick Harrison. Oh, no. Cool. Nick, is this you? I'm imagining if you're from, is this the right? Oh, no, maybe the wrong Nick. Sorry. Nick Harrison. Here you go. Sorry, wrong one. Okay, cool. Nick, now I've got this one. I'm imagining this is you. Super simple, bro. Your name is Nick and your logo is your business. So let's not do that. Put your face there. Like clearly you've gone for a black and white thing. I'd do a similar kind of clear white backdrop or simple backdrop with you so you can stand out, and it would seep into that pretty easy. Contact info. Yep, nice. You've got Nick Harrison. It's actually good that you got that website. I'd put your work email. Imagine it's nick@41.nz. Super simple. Boutique architectural studio, obsessed with bespoke radical design. Nice. That's actually a super strong one. I would flesh this out a little bit more. If you're the founder, get your logo in there, set your business account up for a company's page. And, you've been going since what? 2019. So it's new business. Let people know why you started it, experience in the landscape, why people should listen to you, yada, yada, yada. I think all that would be really good. So as well, just if you've got questions now, please line them up in the Q&A section. I'm going to go through all of those after I finish this rant and ramble from Walter's side as well. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. So I'm just looking at the other comments. Yep. 2,000 followers. That's what I would do there. Interests. Have you got two? Basically, people will go around just click follow on F up and everything. Clear, I think a lot of these are, I'd tighten this up if you're not fully into absolutely all of them, because the last thing you want is to be groups of everywhere. It just kind of does nothing. Profile photo, that it's an easy way to do to start with, for sure. Stephen Gregan, here you go. Stephen, cool, good backdrop, easy, mindful, because this is actually kind of deep. Like when I saw this, if I didn't know what you were literally doing in here, I would think you were in the creative sort of industry and you've got a corporate suit and then full art over here. So I imagine there's something a bit different. It's not just straight copy paste stuff. This is actually a pretty strong first sentence. Then you've fleshing it out. Yep. This is actually pretty cool. It's key capabilities. This is really well laid out. Private investor, cool. Advisor. See if Pivotal have their logo. See Ray Abbey Foundation, Rad. I know Ray, he's a champ. Get logos there. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, flipping and so you're there at CFO shop, bro. Yeah, I'm talking with Mike later. What a legend. Yeah, that's good. What I'd do, yeah, I'd change that to, I guess if you got your fingers in a few pies, this might be good unless there's an overarching consultancy email. Do that. It is actually pretty good, to be fair, that you've got your phone number in there as well for a lot of people that want to get you, especially if you're on a bunch of different boards and stuff as well. Keeping that pretty clear. That is pretty solid. What else would I do here? You've got a pretty solid profile. What I would check is, I want to see your activity. See, no articles, whatever, but clearly you've got a bunch of, I'm thinking if you've had a bunch of different board roles and bits and pieces, the no-brainer here would be able to do some clear sort of like evergreen content around, tips to get on boards, or just different ways of your strategic thinking that you could put into a timestamp would be good. And then posts, 1 day, 1 week, 1 week, 1 month, 1 month. So you kind of do a couple, and then 8 months. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanted to have more of a position in the marketplace there, you could easily up that. The quality is high. You've got a pretty good setup. Yeah, I'm sure there is a visual disconnection between art and then corporate there. But then you got the no tie thing on. That's kind of cool. John Knight. There we go. John Knight, owner Outside Sports. Boom, boom. Cool. John, is this the right John? I'm guessing it is. Just comment to double check so I can do it. Mate, if you're owner from, oh shit, wrong John Knight. Oh shit, how many John Knights are there? John Knight. John, is this you? This John? Because the other one I had, there we go. Okay, cool. Got you, John. All right. Rested, restless, and ready for the next week challenge. It's a kind of a cool line. Boom, boom, boom. Doesn't say what you do though. Like what sector, you're an accountant that wants to get out of it. I'm not sure. John Knight, a tower been a great ride. Look for the next role. Nice. Okay. Logo, but challenge and what. I think you need more clarity on what you're going after specifically and what different vertical. Done. Get specific on the practical, tactical things of where you want to play in, because if it gets too vague, and if it's a skill set across everything, it fits into nothing. But clearly, your insurance, bigger corporate shit. That's probably the first one thing I do. Kind of nice, good. You got your first name, logo, boom, and Gmail's good as well, because obviously, if you're ready for the next big challenge, people can go through there. Good. All right. So that is a few. Lois Dermot says, could you please do a Wahine too? Yep, of course. I'll just do users. So I'm just literally going through. Oh, there you go. Parkable. I know those crew. There you go. Cool. I know Parkable, I know the business. Very cool. Background, good, easy. The only thing here would be, if it's a bit darker, then you've got a gray top on. It doesn't pop off as much, but you got the good lighting, simple and easy. I'd maybe brighten that up a little bit. Centered, because you've gone for quite the centered sort of approach a little. I could probably go an extra 10% maybe. And here I would actually have Parkable somewhere, because he's saying what it does and there, but it looks like this has been cropped off a different sort of thing. Boom, 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 boom. And it's quite simple and clear design, right? It's cool, it's simple, makes sense. Contact info, see if you've done the same thing. Now, so you haven't here, Lois, sorry, I don't know how to say that probably. See how yours at the top here does this crazy number thing? That's kind of shit, right? So you could, can almost guarantee there's probably no Lois Dermot anywhere. I'm probably guessing you should be able to get that pretty easy. And good, so operations perfect. I'd do 1 or 2 more paragraphs in here, just to give it a bit more flex. This is awesome, Parkable, perfect. Give an explanation of what it does with a bit more. It says it's awesome, great. Callahan, dope. I'm on the board of figuring Z with Vic, who's their CEO, which is awesome. I really like that. The bullet points and the consistency of that across all of it. I think that's super cool. And then you've got logo. Oh, nice. Eat my lunch. I know Lisa, she's a champ. You've worked especially with Callahan and a few of the other spots, because that is cred flex for New Zealand as well. So you've got none there. 4 languages, holy shit, that's aggressive. So I would actually that's quite an epic thing, flipping little quad core language shit. Put that up here somewhere as well, with craft it up. I'm sure you're pretty good at that. Courses, boom, interest, sweet. It's actually super, super sweet. And we got, here we go. Now, because now, I'm sorry if I'm saying the name right. Is it Stephanus Basson? Here you go. Now, Stephanus, is this you, mate? If you're in Wellington, I imagine this is you. Yep, perfect. Okay, cool. Boom, boom, boom. Blue and blue kind of blends in a little bit. I'd probably change that background color just a little bit. Like, I get what it's trying to do, but it's just a bit darker there on that side. I don't know what this is. It's like a micro zoomed in micro shot of a credit card. Contact info. Yep, so you've done the same thing. So simple one for you, bro. Go to the top right hand side and get your name, your custom URL. That's a no-brainer. I think I'm pretty much almost exactly sure you could get that one. Space the shit out. Go for a dope one-liner and then break the next things out with where your experiences actually is. ANZ, cool. Portfolio clients. I'd flesh this out a little bit more. If you're doing this, are you traveling around? Are you with what type of revenue? With what type of roles? Just give it a bit more of a bit more credit in there. Break this down a little bit more, just so you know what you've specifically been doing. Try and get logo. Recommendations, cool. Try and see if you're in the banking sector. You've probably worked with a bunch of different people within it from different businesses, which is probably a lucky thing. I would then go and actually ask them for recommendations as well, because they'll have pretty much branded sort of stuff, which would be good. So all in all, that you can kind of feel there. And I'm going to do one more and then get into the rest, and we can get into Q&A. Ruth Martin. Now, Ruth, I'm imagining, is this you? Oh, there we go, Dr. Ruth Martin. I think this is it. It feels like it. Yep, hopefully. No, that's not me. Shit. Okay. I will steal this URL, copy that, paste that. Boom. Okay. Is this you, Ruth? Hope so. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. Ruth, research and social innovation. Cool. That's you there, synced up. Gray's always an interesting one because it goes full corporate, but it doesn't. It's pretty good lighting stuff there, which is sweet. I don't know if you want to rejig that and potentially go to color, because if that's you, they're rolling there, and then not that people wouldn't know what you, but if they see brown, then blind, it's super minor. But I would do that. Contact info, same thing. Dr. Ruth Martin, cool. Dun. This is actually quite cool. I don't know what the Environmental Protection Authority in New Zealand is, although I can guess. Cool to give specific things. You could probably bullet point out a bunch of the different roles in these bits and pieces, which would give a lot more sort of flex. I would do that. And then I would also flesh out you haven't actually done a description section at all with talking about, your experience, what brought you into the mix, all the rest of it. So I would 100% start with that, and then boom, boom, boom. And also, especially if you've been doing a bunch in the research space, getting different creds and recommendations from others would be huge. So that is start of it. Cool. We've done a bit. I'm stopping the share. Okay, we're back. All right. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful, but you can kind of see the same sort of rhythm. The whole goal is you want consistency with the top and the profile image. Understanding your profile image is going to shrink down a whole bunch smaller when it scrolls up into the feed. People are going to be able to see that. That's the first piece. Make sure all the different logos are shown, give a bit of context to each of the different bits. That's the first initial sort of starting point, which makes sense. Next thing I want to talk about, connections. Okay, connections. There's a few things I want to talk through here. So maybe what I'll do is I will I'll go through like 4 hacks which I think you'll use, and then I'll jump into a bunch of other sort of Q&A and bits and pieces. So what I shall do, and if you've got any questions, we've got 12 questions down left, jump in, add that, and go from there. I'm going to share the screen, Google Chrome, and share. Perfect. Okay. So I'm back in. What I want to show you is a simple way for engagement. So when you click the top left-hand side and you get your feed, and your feed comes up, and that's all good. Cool, 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 cool. Boom, 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 boom. What you want to be able to do is on the left-hand side here, you can actually follow different groups and they follow different hashtags. Now, if you're in a specific, so say there's, career and strategy, right? You can follow different hashtags to go do different things. You can follow hashtags, get into it. So say you want to go into strategy. The great thing is when you go into it, you can, just go back. Discard. Pick a couple of different hashtags of things which are relevant to your industry, right? This is super important because what you can do is you basically get a sense of the pulse of what's happening for those that also are thinking about different things like this that are in your landscape. So say if we're talking about, this is a perfect example, we're talking about strategy. All right. Now, why this is cool too is if you're looking to increase your profile and visibility online, and your profile and visibility within those in your ecosystem and stuff, a great way is you can be able to jump in and actually talking about, so let's go content marketing. This is something that, I'll check out. And if you're trying to, if you're an expert sort of content crew, you're looking at this here, not all content is created equal. She's done this. Simply, you can be able to, like, comment, engage, share, and start to really, really get deep on a niche, right? Like pick a space that you want to get into, whether it's banking or whatever else as well. It's just a simple, easy way to do it. And then when you can, you see all the different things, you can unclick ones, you could follow it. So unfollow that, follow this, go into guerrilla marketing, see what they're doing. There's not as many there. But when you find certain different niches, you get, you get a bit more insight as well, and especially the tone of, if you go to some of these corporate hashtags, they're not going to be used the same way with the thumbnails and the logos, and it just kind of lets you know the sort of the tone of the room and what people are sort of talking about. So the first one that I wanted to go through is hashtags. Second one, now this I start into some little hacky shit. I'm going to go through 4 little ones. Boom, boom, boom. And just, I'm going to do these 4 things, come back, then we're going to do Q&A for a bunch of stuff as well. So ask any of the questions on the left-hand side into the Q&A component. Make it all anonymous. It makes it easier for everyone, so it doesn't feel awkward. So let's get into the next one. The first thing I want to show you, and for those of you, if a few of you have linked up with me before, you probably know this one. It is a thing called Crystal Knows. So what Crystal Knows is basically it's an AI, it's crystalknows.com. But if you're in business and you're doing a lot of B2B stuff, it helps a lot to be able to know about the people you're sort of working with. And what this is, and I haven't paid, I used to have the full vision, but what you can do is it basically creates a profile view. So let's go to, for example, you fill out this different thing, and it kind of gives you a bit of a personality sort of test thing. And why it's cool is because then it actually links you with other people of how you can potentially work with them, right? So say, Rod, you can type in anyone's name, you get a little on the icon here, you can then click into whenever you're on LinkedIn. So if I go to Rod Snodgrass, so he's bro. What happens is after you put the thing in, it pops up here on the right-hand side. See how this comes up and it's like view personality. If you don't know people yet, this is a great way to just find out like how they roll, or the introvert, extrovert, whatever. And it's pretty accurate so far. And then, oh shit, I've used my free ones. But basically it will come up with a similar thing just like this. Oh, here we go. So we're, pretty similar, but when you pay the thing's like $50 or something, but it's really interesting because it can tell, like, if you're, I want risk, he wants risk, he's a nutter, I'm a nutter, blah, blah, blah. But then you can find, like, say for partnerships and different bits and pieces, you find out how they roll. And it even gives you advice of, say if you want to email Rod, and so you can, let's say, make a sales pitch. Do a crowded kind of email template to actually be able to work with them. So especially in your business world, this is a great way to be able to communicate, because for me, I hate 1,000-word emails. My emails are like 3 words, usually. So I'm very short and to the point, and just get you done onto the next, but this is a great one to do for yourself, to see where you roll. And then also you see where you fit in this thing, if you're here, who sits on the other sides. So this is the first one. And then as I said, it comes up with a personality profile. It's a little Chrome extension plugin that clicks on the right-hand side anytime you're on anyone's profile, and boom, you're away laughing. And then that's it. So that's the first one. It's called Crystal Knows. That's just one little thing for LinkedIn, which does make a difference. So that's the first one. Second one, click him. Now there's a few different options and other ones for this, but why this is interesting, or why this is good, is because what you can do is you can customize a URL platform. So, if I go into it, what I can do is, let's say my website is, let's say if my website was this, right? But I wanted, say he's got this big long one. Let's say hypothetically, you see you can come in here. So it's got, total clicks, where the clicks are all coming from. It's a bit of insights behind it. But what you want to do here is you just click there, drop in your text, shorten it. And then for all different business stuff, so say if this is a link to a free PDF for you to be able to work from, if this is a new product or whatever it is. And let's say if I'm selling, so these are some of the ones before. I've had Blueprint when I was in LinkedIn classes. Let's say if I'm selling, winter special. And let's say it's Bob's Tires. So it's Bob's Winter Special. There you go. Change the alias, Bob's Winter Special, done. Copy that. It's mine. Now if I open up a new tab and I go into it, Bob's Winter Special takes me to Rod's page. Super easy and cool, but it lets you track and enable it. And so this is a pretty cool thing, because it enables you to brand up different. So say if you're in real estate, instead of a trade me thing, every different one could be its own address, right? You could go click them, and then as a, 300 Queen Street or whatever it is. Cool. So this is the second piece I wanted to show you. It's have a look, and there's a bunch of others. There's like bit.ly, and there's a whole, bit.ly, or there's just another one called Click'em. That's cool. So that's the second piece. Third piece out of 4, InShot. So most people have asked as well as, what I use for when I do edits on my phone and bits and pieces. Now, obviously, this isn't directly on computer as such, but if you're creating content or videos on LinkedIn, a simple one that I use, it's InShot. And what you do is basically download the app off your phone, and you can do simple video editing, filters, effects, super basic, really easy, cost a couple bucks, and it's away laughing. This number 3. So it's something to, now you could easily, type in InShot competitors and find other ways that people talk through this as well, right? Like that's easy to do. And there are a whole bunch of others. There's like photo collage ones and different video editing ones specifically. Even like Adobe has different bits and pieces. So you can do that but for me, this is just one of the ones that I've used. I like it. It's slim, it's simple. And the last one, and this is more of a B2B thing now. Just you got to be careful with this, because obviously with connections and security and bits and pieces. But what Scrap.io does is you can basically go into the dashboard. After you're in, you can use it to say, let's say if I type in CEO and I want to search for CEOs that I'm not connected to. So I'll click that live in Auckland. Oh no, let's say live in New Zealand. There you go. Click apply. Okay, cool. So this will give me a list of all the people that are CEOs that are in New Zealand that I'm not connected to that live in New Zealand there. Boom. Perfect. So here we go. So what you can do is you go to click name. Boom. Bron Thompson. Here you go. So we're not connected. We've got a bunch of mutual connections. She's a shareholder advisor at Hunter Safety Lab, CEO of Springload. Cool. What you can do is after you do the Google Chrome extension is you just click this little scrap button here. It clicks it, boom, there's an email. 74% accuracy potential that this is her email address. And this is really, really list of, CEOs or whatever. Now this is just pulling information that is publicly available somewhere on some site. It uses some tech to be able to find it, but this is a great way to be able to get to specific people if you're in a B2B landscape to figure out who you want to get to. So that is a thought. So Scrap.io is not a dumb one to do. Okay, so did that just maybe if you've got any comments or questions or anything about those kind of quick things, like we've got the connections, profile, 4 little hack tips. Put in the chat. Just put in the chat if you've got any other specific questions about that I've just covered. Actually, no, use the Q&A. Sorry, use the Q&A if you've got any questions around any of those things to start with. And if that's cool with you, I want to then get into the Q&A from all of you, if that's sweet. So Palace, boom. Got a bunch of crew in there, which is sweet. Yeah. So yeah, give feedback of like what was good, what do you potentially want more in the chat, or if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A. Stephen says, "Yep, Scrap and Crystal was cool." It is. So Crystal knows, and look, it's AI. It's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty flipping close. And I don't know how it does it, but from looking at it, it basically trolls the internet for everything that you've ever posted anywhere to get some type of idea on what your personality is based on the content that is out there. And then Scrap is also a great way to be able to save time to get in contact with specific things. So if you're in the B2B environment and you craft up a pretty solid LinkedIn profile, and then you create consistent content within a certain vertical, and then you know the people that you're trying to connect with, and then you can email them and you can give content to specifically get to those people. That's pretty cool, and not many people do that. So all these different things I actually don't use for myself for business as such, because I'm not selling, I guess, any like services for the hour or any stuff like that. I've got my fingers in all sorts of shit. So this is, but definitely if you are in business, I would 100% be using this couple of these. And personality, short form links, Nick Harrison says, very cool tool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, have a bit of a play around. And as I said, you can just type in that competitor online. There'll be flipping 10, 20, 50 different other ones that have that as well. So you don't need to stress too much on all that. Okay, cool. So what I wanted to do now is I want to go to Q&A. There's a bunch of questions coming in here, so let's start to smack these up. So what I will do is, if I click answer live, what do I just answer it, or you would like to answer this question live? Yes, I would like to answer this question live. And then I click done. Okay, so a question is, I thought it would bring up the text so you can see what I'm saying, but I can't. Okay, how do you feel it is best on LinkedIn to show your personality and interests as a great human as well as as a great human as well as the skills and talents? 100%. I would definitely be showing all the stuff you're into, all the stuff that you're about and what your passions are. Because outside of business, I mean, everyone's got shit they like to do. And when people know what you're into, it gives, more chances to bond and get into it, right? Like people know that I like the Oakland Raiders, I like hip hop, I like sport, I like NFL, I like basketball. Pretty simple, easy, and then passionate about, and as well, with what you're into, right? Like if you go to mine, you can see I'm passionate about, like World Vision, is a big one for me. SPCA, big one for me. And then Stuart just says, video is the best way to introduce your passion. Probably totally agree. You could easily have a article which sat on your profile, which was here are my passions. Within that, you could, because it's always, it could stay there, and then you could have a YouTube video or something put on there. Or if you don't want to be in front of the camera, you could have a bunch of photos as well, which could be a good way to do it. So yes, 100%. Put your interests, personality, 100%. Because think about it, if there's a whole bunch of people doing the exact same shit, and it's like, we went to school here doing this, and there's no context beneath it, there's no depth, and you don't have depth, and you don't have relationship, and you don't have relationship, then you're stuffed, and you kind of don't have the same opportunities. You will have less opportunities if you try and be bland. That's what I'll say. Done. Okay. Answer live. There we go. Anonymous, when he says, how to catch the interests of recruiters in your first few lines. Very simple. They will always be looking for specific people to do specific. How do you let that you do that specific thing? Like, are you a, digital weapon ready for action in 2020? And then it's, whatever your things is, and then you actually got to be able to flex as well, especially on your, not only your work done, but actually showing the work that you've done, like under your different projects and bits and pieces as well. You need to understand that every single recruiter will look at your profile, and if it's bland, it's like, okay, cool, copy paste. Where's the depth? And then if you go super into what you're into, go crank all the way down, and then really get into the mix with all the different projects you've done and the caliber and the quality. That's what they'll go into. They'll dig deep, and they already know you've done a bunch of cool shit. Either you got awards and whatever else as well. So reverse engineer the answer to the one-liner with what they're after. And so they're specifically in accounting. They want a CFO in an accounting world. Okay, well, how do you then craft that one-liner specifically for that? Is it 20 years experience, CFO in accounting land, ready for the next challenge, or whatever it is, and then you just flex on like staff, numbers, revenue, size, all the rest of it. Totally. You've got to hit them with the punchlines real quick, so then they know that you're not pissing around. Then you can go deep. But if you have the juice all the way down the bottom, they're probably not going to get there, and you're going to lose an opportunity. So now we're into Q&A time. So literally questions, crank in there. I can go through as much other stuff as you want, but there we go. So Kayla says, I'm just learning to use LinkedIn and changing careers. So I'd like to get your advice with the best way to use it. Perfect. So Kate, super easy. If you're changing careers, where are you going to, and how do you craft your one-liner and your paragraph description to then navigate towards that world, right? Like, so say if you're jumping from two worlds, but you've got skill sets that transfer over, then you're front footed, after 10 years in the agri space, passionate about making a move into banking, using my existing relationships, whatever it is. Make the bridge, because if visually you see too many jumps or too much of a big jump, like say someone was working at, an ice cream stand here, and the next thing you know, they're CFO at Farmlands. You'd be like, what the fuck, what? Like, show the visual growth of your career path, so that makes sense to stack up. So you just need to craft that narrative through text, and especially if you're going into a new one, you need to be able to do it. Stuart says, build your social proof. The profile is your weapon. Craft it to engage. The one-liner promotes you everywhere you post. It engages in more places. 100%. That is exactly right. So that is done. Your LinkedIn profile does not appear to follow your advice. Did it not work for you, but does for others? I don't know what part. So for mine, we'll go back to it. Myself, I like the blackness, the symbol thing. I want it totally symmetrical. I shifted this to the right. Oh shit, you can't see what I'm saying. Sorry, give me 1 sec. Share, here we go. So yep, mine's symmetrical. I used the black to go there. I shifted this to the right-hand side. This actually was on this side, but when you look at it on mobile, it actually would go over it, which would be kind of bit kooky. So my one-liner is, I've done media tech stuff, fine, and then consulted, to big companies, and Fortune 100, obviously pretty big. So let's go to this way, and this is what the public see. Cool. For me, I started. I'll start with a bit of more of a punchy one, boom, boom, and then it sends to my website, and obviously that's a key thing which gives more depth to different bits and pieces. But then I've sort of broken down a little bit of like where I'm at now. Some awardy shit, a bit of career-y shit, and then context on the career-y shit. Boom, 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 boom. Yep. And then tech, and that's obviously where you get the exits, and then boards, yada, yada, yada. So, so my one, which the thing that I don't do, so then experiences, all of these have the context of each different bit. Boom, 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 which is good. Good. The only one I don't is we don't have the other one, which does piss me off because then visually that annoys me. A few different projects, honors and awards, languages, recommendations. So yeah, this works for me. The only thing I probably haven't, which I don't do, and this is by choice. So my main 2 features piece, I do that, but the bits that I don't mess with is articles. I don't really mess with because most of my stuff is as a stream. And so the last one I did was ages ago there. And before that was 2018. Because what I would do is every day I would do a different one and make it there. And then just instance, I'm usually on there, 3, 4, I guess, times a day. The majority of that is sort of scheduled through different bits and pieces. So, so that would be that there. So to be fair, for me, it's worked really well, and gets to a whole bunch of people, which is good. So I've answered done. Kia ora, bro. This is from Kylie. With LinkedIn, do you have a personal account or business or both? So I've just got my main sort of my main personal one. I'm not running businesses on there like I usually would, but I would highly recommend, if you do have that, to then have both. A quick tip: if you do have a business that you own, which is a brand, like the design company before, or so I'm just scrolling down the thing, or your personal one is, if it's business related and it's for the business, let the business post it, and then you can be the amplifier on top to actually share that out externally, if that makes sense. So let the business lead, you amplify on top, or else if the business is you're going to be basically copy paste on both, and that becomes a little bit funky and actually not the smartest. It's not the smart, in my opinion anyway, it's not the smartest way, because it actually devalues it. Then it's basically the business talking as you instead of business standing on its own 2 legs. So think of like you as a person, and then the business as its own platform. Keep them separate. Don't copy paste. If anything, let the business lead, and then you drive behind it that way. Or if it's specific thought leadership from the CEO about it, potentially that goes, and then the business goes the other way and then supports and says, super proud to have our CEO talk about yada, yada, yada. Stephen Gregan says, Stephen, you haven't listened, mate. I've said to put the questions in the Q&A, and they put it in the chat, but I will answer it because I'm already in the zone. I see it here, but I like the radical behavior of not listening to what I say. So I appreciate that. You said, with more people moving to being self-employed or gig economy or gig, do you recommend to set up a business platform? 100%. If you have a business, you should have a business page for that business. Yes, 100% do it. And But just realize exactly what I said before. What's the business saying and what you're saying? You can talk about your other different interests and bits and pieces, but then the business has got to have the business one. So yes, 100%. And then to answer your question there, Carly, yep, done that. Cool. Listing your personal interests, a good idea to reveal your personality. Another anonymous one, 100%. Yes, done. What should you do if an old employer does not have a logo on LinkedIn? Can you paste the logo into a profile? Good question. So there is a kind of a hack around this, and I don't know if it's the most correct way to do it, but it is a way to do it, is if your old employer doesn't have their business or whatever set up and thing, what you can actually set up a page for that business, link the URL to them because it's not going to be attributed to you because it is their business, and then use that then. So literally, there are times, and I've had to do it before, is literally set up a company page for that business you work for, put the right logo, make sure it's square into that, and then you can use that for your own one so it then attributes it back. It's a little bit ghettoer, and the one reason why mine doesn't have it is because I don't know, high school logo cannot be found anywhere digitally. So I'm really frustrated about that. So that's one thing. So to answer it, Kavan, sorry, is yes, basically set it up, bring it across, and then do that as well. Comments, put in the comments. Questions, put in the questions. I'm just working my way down now, and we've got more that are coming through here. So just chuck them all in, and we keep going on this. I'm talking a lot, team. So I'm flipping sorry if this is just going hard. Look, I've only drunk like stuff. You wait there for a second. All right, next. I've answered that. Boom. Should the LD role detail match the content of your CV? What does the LD role mean? Your LinkedIn role detail match the content of your CV? Yes. So I need more, re-ask that with more context so I know. Question, what would you focus on via LinkedIn when trying to obtain clients for architects? Great question. Okay. So let's go into some share mode. Boom, share mode. So what would you focus on via architects? All right. Well, what are architects into? Actually, what we should do is find out people. What would be interesting? Me, we'll a whole bunch of different people that either have. I'd go into. Where would I go to start with? I'd start by being in their world or what they're talking about. So I'd get into the architecture hashtag world, find out what people are into, what are they talking about, yada yada yada, and then I would start commenting and engaging and actually sharing in some of that content. And then what I'll do, give me one sec. And then what I would do is then I would think about the eyeballs within architecture. What are they talking about on Twitter and Facebook and magazines and whatever? A magazine, just because it sits on, if your world is architecture, your world doesn't live on just on LinkedIn. You could literally be going to, Google, type in architecture news, finding latest articles, linking that back in across it, and then instantly having a whole bunch of like, what's your 2 cents on it? The key with it would be, I'm just trying to think, should I just do it this way? Maybe I should go and see. If you do it that way, so let's say architecture, is that how to spell it? Is that right? Okay, cool. Architecture news, there we go. Works of architecture insider, great. Like, find things that are in your wheelhouse, potentially new. I can guarantee if you're into architecture, a lot of people probably haven't seen this. Look, Amanda Cross has just put this up 23 hours ago. Do you lead with a photo of this into your LinkedIn, post up on the main spot, and then say, then you'd copy that URL. People then go into the main feed, start a post, paste it in, click space, instantly down below will give a preview, and then you can have your 2 cents to it. So instantly you just got to go into their world, and then obviously you can add a hashtag, then you go architecture, yada, 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 and then you're away laughing. So the best way to play it, if I was you, would be find out where the people are talking, find out what they're talking about. Don't just share shit, share with context. Like, what's this? I call it story behind the story. What's the story behind the story of that? Or what's your 2 cents on it? Like, what's your take? Why is it different? Why is it good? Flip and tell us, right? Those things need to happen. So answer live, yes. Next question. Should you post on your profile a short 30 to 40 second canned video that introduces you? I haven't seen, I don't even know if I've probably seen maybe 1% of people that do that. But if I was a business, I'd have my business video there for sure to introduce your business. That makes sense. If I was if I was trying to get hired, probably. If you're good on camera. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. This is the advice. If you're not flipping good on camera, don't go on camera. Type, text, write, do audio, do articles, flip and take photos. Just don't, just because people are consuming more video. If you're shit at video and you're uncomfortable, don't flip and do it. Like, do not do it. No, don't. But I'm wondering what would you do with that, right? You'd say, if I was doing a 30, 40 second video on it, I'd make the title of it something interesting. I'd make the title of it engaging, and something a bit different that would make them want to do it or make them want to get into it. So that's what I'd do. Okay, more questions coming. I like this. Good. When I want to promote or share a post, how do I do that without adding a comment? When I want to promote or share a post, how do I do that without adding a comment? So I'm just trying to figure out exactly. So if you're going to ask questions, try and be a bit specific so I can definitely know. So if you want to promote or share a post, you can do that pretty easy. So the way to do it is, if you want to share a post, I see my bro Bailey just got into the NZ board, which is dope. So I can just share that, and I don't need a comment. I can just click share. But that's probably not that smart, because then there's no context behind it. Like, this would be like, if I was going to do it, it'd be like, dope to see the bro stepping up to the big boy table, to another big boy table, sorry, because I'm just giving props anyway. Shop Bailey, boom. And when I do it, I don't like to do full names, just one, then it's more personal. Another big table, there you go. Then boom, that, boom, done. So you can do it instantly. I'll just stop sharing. You can do it, but I don't know why. I think if you're going to share stuff, do it with context. You need flipping context. Answer live, done. What is Alchem? Alchem? Or was it Alchem? Sorry, no, it was Clickem. So CLK.im. So I'll bring that up. Clickem. Share screen. Boom, boom. It was that. Clickem. CLKIM.com. And that is the URL shortening platform. It's pretty cool. And I just like it a bit better than some of the other ones that I've tested and tried. But that is what that answer was. Answer live, done. What level of LinkedIn do you suggest is worthwhile for startups? Go for paid? Depends what you want out of it, right? A lot of people ask around this. I'm just going to say yes, because it gives you the ability to do in-mail. And I think you get 50 credits of in-mail, where you can match for the chance of doing business. So yes, I would suggest, and it gives you more analytics and more insights and detail. And it, what are the flipping premium features? Give me one sec. I'm just going to bring this up here. Let's do this. So you've got 16 credits available. You get LinkedIn courses. You can see, I mean, I think you get more insights to see specifically here. I mean, I don't really use much of that. But I use InMail. I for sure use InMail. Because a lot of times certain people, this is one thing to say, certain people that you're trying to get to, you can't request a connection from them unless you have their actual email address, unless you can find that through Scrap. Then it helps to send it in mail. And a lot of certain people to get to, they're really particular about who they invite into the network. A lot of people just don't accept yes to everyone. And that is a big issue, right? So let's say, share screen, boom, boom. Perfect example, right? Let's say you want to send a reach out to me, like, cool. Well, here, and a few, this is just from before, which is dope. So obviously, like, yes, 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 cool. But you know what my flipping problem here is, and this is what you see, I've got 630 different things. So if I scroll down, I'm like, cool. Now, anyone who's in a spot, there's too many people, right? Like you don't have time to go through 630 like pages of all this shit. And it's just like, look at that. It's just gnarly. Like it's stuffed. Right. And this is a lot of people, right? And so like, how does anyone stand out in this shit? If you are trying to do it, one thing I would say is definitely put, say perfect here, right? Oh, husband Marshall, dope. So this sticks out because it's personalized. Yo, my husband Marshall, I know Marshall. Yep, boom, boom, boom. She's had a shot and there's more chance, but you don't have time to go through all the rest of it. But think of look at my messages, right? I've only got one message. So I'm going to click that. If you messaged me individually one-to-one, I'd flip and see it. Or there's more chance. So that is a big reason why I would do that, if in my opinion as well. Steve says, awesome session. Sorry, I need to leave. I recommended Premium, good for searching and seeing their connections. Totally agree. Stuart says, Sales Navigator is worth investment. Have a 30-day trial. Totally agree, especially if you're in that sort of side of things. Steve, if you're just leaving, this will be recorded. You can catch up with the rest of it after as well. So hopefully this is helpful. Feel free to ask any more questions. We're starting to smack through them. We're just like boom, 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 boom. Having a breath. And Hamish, any feedback on skills and endorsements? Yes, try and get endorsements from a particular person that you've done a particular thing for. Give them context for the exact type of feedback you might be after, to then go and then potentially be able to talk about, because then when they do the recommendation in their voice and their tone, they're answering the thing that you need. Like, let's say you're a great leader and it was in this thing, I'd rather have, but you go into a different industry. I don't want them talking about, I was great at agriculture. I want them talking about me as a leader with the people. So if you say, hey, it's about my leadership skills, blah, 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 lead them a little bit to help you craft it. Don't write it for them, whatever. But then at least when it sits in, all of a sudden you've got 10 different people saying, leadership capabilities and stuff. So that is 100%. And on the skills, just craft up where you really kind of want to sit, because people can say you're good at a lot of things as well. So I would lead them on the recommendation side and then be a bit more particular about the skill side. What are some recommendations for people who are looking for jobs? How do I work through the connections on LinkedIn? So what are the recommendations for people who are looking for jobs? So it depends if you want to go to the recruiter or to the business. Because if you go to the recruiter, then the key way is like navigate your world to the people in recruitment role, find someone that's connected to you that or they might already be in your network. But most of the time, if you're trying to get to someone in your network usually might be closer, more second or third connection. So a great way to do it is find someone that's not in your network, go to that first person and go from there. So a simple way is if I go, once again, share screen, Google Chrome, share, cool. So let's say I'm going after, let's say if I'm trying to get to the marketing manager, right? We'll find out in a sec. But I want to find someone that I'm not connected to. So when I search for it, I just click boom, second connection. So I'm not connected to this person. Okay, here you go, marketing manager at Gong. So I can see that Michael, connections. So I literally just click the shared connections. And there you go. These are 12 results of people that are in my first network who I know that are connected to them. So then I'll be like, cool, Dave knows him. All right. So then I'll hit up Dave, message Dave, yo, trying to connect to someone. So that's an easier sort of simple way to do it. And then if you go on the B2B side, you need to be really, really particular. So you can go direct with an email. You can create a lot of consistent content to finally get into their funnel to be able to do it. That's a potential other way you can do it as well. So those are just a couple of start points. Alan says, do you have an opinion on profiles that use pipes? Pipes? Alan, give me more context. I don't know what pipes mean. Profiles that use. Sorry, not sure. Give me more context below and I'll answer it. Next question. I've been trying to land some job interviews from the LinkedIn jobs page, but as much as I would like it, I keep getting the rejection mail. What are some tips to improve that? Or what are recruiters exactly looking for? Oh, see, I always, look, I've never had to go for sales. I've never really been employed by anyone, but I'm a fan of not doing what everyone else does. This is just my own little 2 cents. I know that you stand out when, perfect example. David's got to bounce off. Shot, David, there's going to be more stuff in there. You'll be able to think of it. See, those 630 people all trying to connect with me. I don't have the time to go through absolutely all of them, but one person that did a customized thing that was maybe for me specifically in Messenger, I would then read and engage with. But when you've got everyone going through the same pipe doing the exact same thing, it's a formula which sucks, right? So you need to think about some ninja moves of how you can stand out genuinely to others. So you've actually got a creative conversation, because at the end of the day, look, you can get in the door, but if you're shit, it's not going to work. But you could get more of a higher chance to succeed if you get in the door smarter, doing things a little bit differently. I would highly suggest it's not a or approach like this or that, do both. Like go through the system, cool, but then find out like who works in the organization that you may know, who can potentially get a word into the HR side. How can you connect with them personally? What content could you create specifically online to be able to get to them? These are the things that you need to start to think about as well. Until I've done. Jason Hart, hey mate, great content. Sup Jace, good dude. Do you use any scheduling software for posts? Yes, yes I do. So I shall show you what I use. I used to use Buffer, and now I use Hootsuite. Hootsuite's pretty cool. Streams, come here, I'll just get rid of this. I've only been using this for the last little bit. You can get up your different streams. You can add in a stream, add a social network, add in different bits and pieces. Boom, 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 boom. Keywords. You could search under architecture. You could do keywords, lists, whatever you want to do. Add them all in there. Inbox as well. So you've got your different. It does on your, which is cool. I'm just on the basic plan here I've done, but it's got, obviously a whole bunch of different messages and bits and pieces as well. It's got publisher analytics, streams, but so that's what I use at the moment. I'm using Hootsuite. The user functionality on feedback is a bit slow. So I prefer when I kind of do my batch loading of different stuff is I'll jump back in. I'll just get one stream on both and go through it, but it's for each their one. Alan replies back. So answer live, done. What do you use for, Sean Gear says, what do you use for scheduling for posts? There you go, done. But what I am doing with the live streams is they then go through restream.io, which means the video goes out to multiple different platforms all at the exact same time. So it goes boom, 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 four of them done, which is super cool. And that works great. Here we go. Alan says, they are wonderful fluffy titles or attributes that aren't just business relevant. Husband AI, e.g. husband AI, etc. So, sorry, got you. It depends if you're high enough up the food chain that you can go wider with your position. But if you do all these other random bits and pieces and you're still in a role, it might not be clear enough to others exactly what you do. But I do like the idea of personality, but I would not run it as at a risk of professionally jeopardizing the headspace of others not realizing what you actually do. So yes, if it doesn't jeopardize the positioning or the potential increase into your role. That's what I would ask. Question, what if you had a weird mix of jobs and communities because of living overseas in different communities, but not all work, and have now settled for 1 year back in New Zealand, studying and have a contract job? Okay, that's fine. So basically, how do you position yourself when you've gone super wide? So if you've gone super wide, you've got a skill set which goes wide, and the same sort of headspace of who you are and how you operate. Is it the moral and ethical compass, or your leadership skills, or your people skills, or whatever? There are different traits that sit across a whole bunch of different things. So focus on the traits, but then you doing a position and really highlighting the fact of you like a bunch of different things and variety, and then you even front it in your thing, being fortunate enough to travel the world and do a whole bunch of amazing things all over the place, make great people, blah, 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 blah. Craft that in the narrative. And you say, now in New Zealand for the next 12 months, doing this, and some contract stuff, loving being home and into the new adventure. Then it's kind of like, oh, you've traveled around, done some cool shit, clearly a good person, and you're available for the next 12 months. Craft the narrative. So there's no such thing as a weird mix of jobs. I mean, there is, but it's fine. With COVID, is there a tone that should be used right now with online marketing, LinkedIn comms? Yes. Don't go push crazy. Here's a buy my stereo, greatest sale of a lifetime, all this other shit. It's like, no, be aware of the flipping room. Understand that there's certain times where you can go push and other times where you can just build brand, tell story, build engagement. At the moment, everyone is stressing around transactions. So this needs to be about relationships. How do you build brand remotely? How do you create content that gets people more to buy into you and your business? That is a play. Yes, you can still, obviously people can still sell stuff, like totally get that, but make it like craft the content so it's nuanced to exactly to the moment and the time, and just put a bit more feel into it, put a bit more context into it. So if you put out the same marketing shit as if it was 6 months ago, it's not going to go down well for a multitude of reasons. Alan says, perfect. I don't personally like it, but keen to find a better way. Use EQ. Totally agree. Okay. Jesse Stigman says, oh man, we've almost finished the questions. We're flipping smacked that. So if you've got more questions now, chuck them in the mix, because I think this is probably a smarter way to do it, and I can try and get to everyone's bits and pieces. If you're moving into a new space, e.g. change of career, starting a new business, what changes would you make to your profile to be relevant for the new direction? If you're moving into a new space, what changes would you make to your profile? It's a really similar thing. You're crafting the narrative into the next adventure. A new passion moving into this industry. It's all in the one-liner, crafting that you go in there. In the descriptions, you've done this and now you're excited for this and why you can do it. The opportunity and what gets you up in the morning, gets you excited. Crafting the text is so critical. The title says what you do and the status of what you're about, but the description gives the context and the little backstory. So one's kind of like content, one's context. Like one's width, one's depth. That's the way you got to think about it. Second to last question. So you should flip and hurry up if you've got more questions, because I've been talking a lot, not drinking much, need more drink. Next question. I'm pretty introverted / shy and not very comfortable with self-promotion. It makes me nervous reaching out to people I don't know. I'm way better with one-on-one conversations. This all seems a bit overwhelming. Do you have any advice for how to get started? Yes. So if you are introverted or shy, the good news is you don't need to do videos of yourself like this. You don't need to do selfies like that. You don't need to do videos like this. You don't need to put photos of you flipping everywhere. And if you look at some of the biggest weapons on LinkedIn, it's not about what they look like. It's about what they're thinking, right? So just get like the headspace, like perfect example, Rob Campbell. Rob Campbell is New Zealand Executive of the Year. He's chair of Sky City. He's chair of THL Group. He's chair of Well Group. He's chair of Precinct Properties. He's chair of FIPA and everything. He doesn't put any photos of him. It's all his thinking and text. And that thinking and text is where the depth is. It's not visual, it's intellectual. And, you know, he'll go on different shows and bits and pieces, but he's not visual first, he's text thinking first. So the format he chose. So one of the things I'd probably say to yourself is find the format which you're most comfortable with first. And if you're then better with one-on-one conversations, there's probably no cameras around, you're in a closed, smaller environment. It's an easier sort of space for you to operate. So the game plan here needs to be about, you know, how do you show the other side that you've got, you know, with the thinking, and then transfer that little thing to be able to catch up for coffee. So your actual hook would be around two parts. One, how do you create depth from afar to show other people that you know what's up? And two, how do you create a soft, easy messaging soundbite to potentially go into that next sort of phase, which I think would be pretty cool. So an example, little example, I'll show you, and I haven't showed many people this, but I shall show you, would be this. So let's say if we go in here, right? And let's say if I didn't know Dave and I'm trying to get to Dave and I'm trying to drop a message. So what I've done is I need to go someone I don't know. So let's go marketing. Let's go marketing. I'm trying to find someone I don't know. And I'm going to show you something that I've done. Here we go. So Keith, let's go to Keith's profile. Cool. Now, I don't know Keith. He lives in San Fran, a couple of mutual connections. Cool. So everyone trying to message him. So I think about two things when you do for this is the first thing is you need that. So if you're uncomfortable, how do you craft up one message which could open that door for something? So a big thing I do is instead of crafting a whole bunch of things exact same time over and over and over and over again, I don't do that. What I have is a whole bunch of different shortcut hacks which I use through my text keyboard. So for example, if I wanted to interview Keith for my show, all I'm going to do is type WCNZLI, enter, boom. And what this is a pre-written craft / mini pitch to try and get him. So, yo, I'm interviewing CEOs, whole bunch of weapons. We're chatting about this. Is it a crazy idea to have 15 minutes? Done. So that's all done and dusted. You would have a similar thing. You know, why I did that was because I had to write out, I hit up all the world-class New Zealanders, which is why I named it in my text shortcuts, world-class New Zealanders, LinkedIn. Push enter, done. Or push spacebar, done. So a huge, massive ninja move could be, how do you craft up that transition piece for trying to get to them to go from there. That's what I would say. It's a cool little tip too. LinkedIn looks like it is great for B2B. What about direct to client? Is it more of a long play by providing content of value? Yes. So if you're direct to client, you're playing brand, right? So if you're playing brand, it's more of a long game. It's more about consistency. It's not about messaging. It's more about the value that you put out. And everyone talks about value. It's like, well, it's a simple thing of like, you know, if you don't add value, subtract yourself. It's super simple. So for you, the way I would be thinking about this would be the brand that you put out to the market, the content that you put out to the market needs to be consistent. It needs to be creative. It needs to be cool. Three things. If it's consistent and creative and cool, it's likable, it's wantable, and it's relevant, you're into a flip and win it, right? Like that is an absolute no-brain, 100%. So that's how I do it. And then if you're going B2C, when you do have moments which you could have either a special or something, why not do just a quick like LinkedIn special? Like obviously you're not going to sell the whole time, but then if you were have the opportunity to say, hey, this thing's coming up, free half hour, hit me the link below, happy to connect, and just say, you know, LinkedIn, they can get messages that way. So you potentially can use it on a one-to-one basis, but it doesn't go very wide. But imagine if you did do this though. What if you did a B2C product? It's got a custom URL. You customize the URL using click.im, click.im. Then you plug that underneath it as a special type of little thing. That's interesting, right? And then what leads to it? Is it a video of you saying, hey, what's up? Just a quick little message here for LinkedIn. If you click this by the end of next week or whatever it is, then there's going to be this product, and just hit the link below and you get 10% off. Done. Sweet. Chris says, awesome quarter, bro. Need to tap out. Kids turn into gremlins. Feel you, man. Feel you. So done. Answer live. Done. Anonymous attendee says, how do you feel about blogs as a way of connecting? Flipping great. Blogs are awesome. If you can type. If you can talk. If you can, be on camera. Whatever's the simplest and easiest way for you. The blogging part around LinkedIn is around those featured articles. That is a great way. So if you can type, like imagine if you had a Monday morning feature, which you put, or feature Fridays, let's call it feature Fridays. You put a feature out every single Friday, and it's about you and your industry, and it's a long form text article, and it becomes a thing. You build. You could use it on LinkedIn articles. You could use it on medium.com. You could chuck it on your WordPress site, use that same article, spread it around, put little quotes and snippets into those things and get those out externally. All that other stuff you can easily do. So I would 100% reckon if you're good at writing, write. Whatever your best format is, do it. Jason says, what is the pre-written message template software, or is it just a LinkedIn premium feature? It's actually none of the above. All you do is it's part of your cell phone under settings, under general settings, general keyboard, and under keyboard, it's text replacement. And under text replacement, you just craft up whatever you want. Like if it's one of your, it's a saying what's up to your friends, and you call it hi, or whatever it is, hi. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, hey, what's up? Hope all's good, whatever. Let's catch up for coffee sometime, whatever it is. You can just craft it that way. So do a shortcut text, which will instantly expand out. So it's not done through any software. It's just genuinely like your phone's settings under general keyboard, flipping whatever. That's the way to do it. So it's actually not, it's pretty, it's all right. Okay. Follow up. How did you do that keyboard shortcut that translates to text? Is that special to LinkedIn? No, sorry, same answer. No, straight. If you're on Apple, it's just settings, keyboard, shortcuts, done. It's a text shortcut, but you could craft those differently, like especially if you're on social and whatever else as well. There's certain things you want to do it for, certain things you don't. So that's been answered. Cool. Last question. It was the third one about the text. Sorry, notes are done. And then last one here is, how do you feel about LinkedIn having less of a business focus recently? Lots of memes, etc. Now, should Facebook be the one thing / Instagram be for another, and LinkedIn be kept for business? LinkedIn is basically a new Facebook for business. There are more memes, there are more things, there's more business stuff. It's not very visual. So I'll talk about one thing which I said right at the start before I started to go on LinkedIn was, it's known as 30,000 followers and all the rest of it, and got to 1.7 million people using just my smartphone with no content. It was forwards, and the forwards were, who owns LinkedIn visually? Why visually? Because I knew they were going from text to photos and video would come. And who is the main player that does creative sort of videos, sort of photo content? No one was doing that. Who owns the space? Like who is consistent often? No one was doing it. And then LinkedIn is the platform. So those are my 4 words that created the mini North Star for the last couple of years of like, who owns that space visually? And I knew that I could. I knew that I'd think. And then I think that I did to a certain degree, which was awesome. And LinkedIn rang me up, said I was one of the top 3 most influential New Zealanders on LinkedIn. Flipping great. But as a platform to scale my thinking and actually help give content out to others, which was a big part. So to answer your thing, yes and no. So just maybe if you think about formats. So I use my Instagram stories as my kind of personal sort of stuff. I use Facebook with a bit of business and a little bit of personal sort of fun, interesting stuff. And then I basically use majority, pretty much everything businessy in LinkedIn. So there are different tones. Now, if I went and put a bunch of my personal shit from Instagram stories on LinkedIn, not the right fit. You're not talking to the right audience, right? If I put too much personal stuff of interest and here's me golfing and doing no work or whatever, that doesn't really fit in there, right? And then if I go the other way and I put like some big crazy, link to some gnarly business article and put them on my Instagram stories, that then doesn't feel right. So you just got to be able to read the room. And I think that's like a massive one now as well. So that is answered. Follow-up questions. I have a business, and if I have a business and don't want to have a personal LinkedIn account and a business one, what do you think I should concentrate on? If I have a business and don't want to have a personal one, so super simple, bro. Set up your personal account. Don't post anything from there. Leave it, because it will say, here's me, this is what I do, this is what I own, done. Cheers. Park that. Just leave it. It's fine. Leave it open for comments or whatever you want to do. Sweet. You're not going to post anything. There's not going to be engagement. People can see what you do. Fine. Make sure that the top link on that personal one goes back to the business. And then in the business one, that's where you go hard on. And just treat it the exact same way, right? What's your consistency? What's your messaging? Look, at the end of the day, this is super simple, right? You've got 3 E's. Where the eyeball specifically of who you're trying to get to, what are you trying to educate them on, and what's the execution point of what you're trying to get them to do. So if you have a business brand account on LinkedIn, what you're trying to do is get to, if you're in recruitment, all right, cool. My eyeballs are recruiters. Sweet. I know recruiters on LinkedIn. Got it. Education. What am I trying to educate them on with my content? Is it around the brand? Is it around the people? Is it around from all around the products, it's around the service, is around the tech, is around the industry, it's around the marketplace. Like this shit goes on forever, right? The last one is like, what's the execution point? If you just go sell, 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 sell the entire time, you're a dick, stuff you. If you don't ever ask or sell anything, then you kind of sit there and you sort of lose as well, right? So you need to balance off the point of selling and then, you know, content to tell a brand. So one's brand building and one's, you know, like business building in terms of currency. So that's one way to think about it as well. Question: how much content is too much? Daily posts on LinkedIn? Now, this is a simple question. Why are you doing it? Do you even need to do content? Some people don't need to do content. Some people sit on boards and they're CEOs and they don't need to do any of this shit. They don't need to do it. So why would they? So ask yourself before you pull the trigger on anything, why are you specifically doing it? If you want to create content and it's good, there is no set formula for success to do it, because you need to understand this, right? I could do one piece of content once a week, and if it was so fire and everyone was just hyped on that shit, it's going to share and go viral anyway. And if there's not one set time of the day, because if everyone posts at the exact time of the day, it's going to dilute, nothing happens, right? Think about it. If someone says to me, it is 12:26 on every Tuesday is the perfect time to post on social, and every single brand posts at 12:26 on a Tuesday, what do you flipping think's going to happen? You've got one stream, you've got 1,000 things coming into it, it goes down there, you only get one. You get to see one out of 1,000. It doesn't make sense. But what does count is the algorithm of how quick it gets picked up in those first little bits, because it knows that, hey, if something starts popping, and let's say if you get, 10 likes in 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is a thing, and it will automatically bump that up. But all of a sudden, if you get it to, it reaches 1,000 people, one person's done one like, the algorithm's going to go, probably pretty shit. Who cares? So it's actually not a motive. So it is actually about the engagements and stuff of what goes in it as well. So how much is too much? Shit. I finished 5 weeks of doing flipping 6 hours live streaming a day, and that was fine. I've done it where I've been offline for 2 months at a time, and that was fine. I've done it when there's been 10 a day, and it was fine. At the moment, it's probably, I don't know, 2, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. I like to space it out though. If I do one personal one here, I like to do maybe a business one there. If I do an education one or a call to action or something, like you can do that as well. So, so that's it. And actually, funny enough, here goes. Next question: what is the best time for a post or share to share on LinkedIn? The turnover time on Facebook and LinkedIn, on Instagram feels a bit shorter. The lag time on viral content on LinkedIn seems a lot longer. And I think it's because people don't scroll all day on LinkedIn's stream the same way they do on Facebook or Instagram. So I think it's got a longer, from content that I've seen, it feels like there's a longer tail for content that goes to the end of it. That's what it feels like. How does a post go viral? Can you explain algorithms a little bit more? Yeah, look, I'm not the crazy algorithm guy, but what I do know is that a majority of, say on stats were coming out, a majority of the instant engagement that was happening on YouTube was actually, a lot of it was about the visual of the thumbnail for discovery, of crafting specific thumbnails. And obviously in LinkedIn, there's no video archive, like there's searchability for videos. Thumbnails isn't a thing because it auto plays off the stream. But if we're talking about stream specific, it's that exact thing before. The amount of people that instantly pop in real quick and they like it, they share it, they engage it, it's flipping sweet. People hyped on it. It works. It's good. It's awesome. That's a way to rumble. Cool. And that brings us to exactly 2 minutes before we're supposed to end up. Holy shit. I've still got the full flipping drink here. Hopefully you've all learned something. I can have a bit of a breather. Any quick chats or last thanks or whatever, feel free to put in, or last little bits and pieces. Sorry, there's been a lot. What happens is my head just goes like this and just goes, and it just goes to town and just gets it all out there. And that's pretty much it. Like literally, I wanted to just get all of this out there to everyone to just be able to do whatever. All the stuff on this is, I guess this is LinkedIn specific, not the whole broad space. The key bit that I would say is, so there is, it's not a sell. It could be a sell. Stuff it. It could be a sell. So I did 6 hours of content across all social media. Is the 2020 blueprint. I put a thing on, I put it out last week. I think I put it out last Friday because obviously everyone's up in their shit. If you go to, I think it's either my website the 2020 social media, if you use the password, the code Robett, just ROBETT, you get 50% off. And it's got 6 hours of everything. It's got 87 videos of every single thing across not just LinkedIn, but like Facebook, brand building, North Star, engagement, video production from your phone, distribution, like everything is there. Like it is literally how I got to 1.7 million people for $0 using a smartphone. No paid spend, no SEO, no nothing. And I've done it once because I've decided I'm not going to do any in-person things, right? So I just put everything out, like everything out in one hit. So if you go to robett.com and you click the course, whatever it is, just use the code Robett, ROBETT, 50% off, and that shuts on Sunday. The code finishes. And I put it out last Friday. I put it up on, what did I put on? I sent an email out last Friday, and then I put one post on social maybe last Saturday or something. So if you want, feel free to go check it out, and that's easy. 4:30 my time, 11:30 your time. Thanks so very much, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed it. My brain is flipping sore, and I need a drink. I'll see you soon, team. Peace. Out of here.